Hello everyone and welcome to Game 4 in a series between TyLooJim and YoonYJ here on our GSL dual site. Going to be a really interesting matchup. These games have just been non-stop action at the 2-minute mark as both players, I'll just say Jim opening up with rather interesting strategies in each particular matchup, causing the game to transition into the mid-game very, very early. Game 1, YoonYJ played absolutely brilliantly, able to stop a proxy gate into a proxy Stargate with Void Rays, but falling in Game 2 after a proxy Stargate attempt completely failed, but still getting Colossi and getting caught off guard from those Colossi as YJ now setting up a supply depot and most likely will be setting up a barracks here. Meanwhile, back at home, it looks like we are going to be opening up with the standard pylon gateway, no proxy gateway plays this time around, as that would be a real big shocker to me if we actually saw a proxy gateway play in this particular matchup. But there are only 2 spawning locations, so you do in fact know where your opponent is, as we now see this one particular gateway being warped in. I believe it was a 12 gate as opposed to the more economic 13 gate, and normally you go for a 12 gate to get a faster tech, so we'll see what tech strategy he tries to open up with. Meanwhile, YJ getting up 1 barracks so far, continuing to trade up more SCVs. He has not gone for a refinery yet, so he may be opening up with that 17-18 command center once more. The probe and the SCV giving each other a little bit of a kiss there, as we are now going into an assimilator. There's that second pylon. A cybernetics core should be coming online as well, as this one probe pretty much sees everything it needs to see, knows that there are going to be there's going to be a lot of minerals just used and perhaps a fast expansion. Now we'll see how he decides to respond, as we see YJ sneaking in with this one SCV. Now I would say that Void Ray harassment is not the way to go this time around, as when your opponent does get a lot of and does go for a fast expansion, he tends to have a lot of marines, as he has a lot of minerals to use since he doesn't have any gas saved up. There's that command center that I was talking about. It was an 18 command center, as I mentioned. We should be getting up another supply depot in just a moment as well. There it is, and then trying to train up more and more SCVs once more. No, gonna be supply blocked at 19/19 as he wants an additional marine on this front door. Not quite sure why, as he can see exactly that there are no zealots coming in, so he could be getting up a stronger economy. And here's the proxy Stargate once more. So a proxy Stargate will be coming in. He could try to hide tech. He could put a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine over here, but that would be a complete shocker to me, as we now see triple barracks coming in from YoonYJ. SCV, however, knowing his opponent's strategies and his inklings, may try to scout out that location. There is that Stargate, as I mentioned. SCV looking around, doesn't see the Stargate down over here, perhaps doesn't expect it to be coming at all, as the Marine also looking for a proxy Stargate down over here, he doesn't see it. Marine still being trained. I believe YJ will be opening up with a double tech lab and a reactor. That seems to be his add-on of choice onto those barracks. He is also double expanding into gas, upgrading to an orbital command. Poor SCV getting stuck on the wrong side of the tracks, or the wrong side of the command center for now, as this SCV, not quite sure, is it going to do long distance mining? That would actually be funny. No, not going to do long distance mining, deciding that that is the better direction to go, as the stalkers are now down here on the low ground. The Void Ray, the Stargate has been completed. A Void Ray could be trained up and chrono boosted out in just a few more seconds. It looks like Jim has cut his probe production at, I believe, at 25, so this is going to be a pretty much all-in attempt. The Stalkers now trying to pull back once more. What will happen, as we are getting up a proxy pylon here? There's a little bit of ledge to work with, so once Zealots and Stalkers are able to warp in there, that may cause a bit of an issue, forcing these Marines to back off. The Stalkers are not going to be able to make it up that easily, as we now have a double pylon now warping in onto the high ground. YJ does not know about this, and this is going to become a very devastating blow in just a few moments, as the Zealots are now up on the high ground, and now The front door or the base has been broken. The Marines need to get all macroed up together. Stalkers now on the low ground as well as the SCVs are engaging. Zealots trying to make their way forward. There are Stalkers on the low ground. Marines fighting back, shutting down all of those Zealots. Stalkers continuing that push, dealing a lot of damage to the units over here. More Zealots now warping in. The Void Ray has to be careful. Only one Void Ray, but the mass number of Marines just absolutely shutting down so many of these units. And what looked like gonna be a very effective harass ends up just melting away. YJ still has this bunker on the front door, so he is able to still fend this off. There are a couple pylons on the low ground. Not quite sure why they are not getting destroyed. It looks like they will get destroyed. A Stalker getting destroyed while being warped in. Not all too good. One pylon will get destroyed there. Now finally backing off. The Marines and the Void Rays do move at the same movement speed. Another Zealot now up on that high ground. And I think Jim may have just jumped the gun there, trying to push out a little bit too early as the Marines are now going after the Void Ray. A lot of damage to be dealt. Down goes another Zealot there as Jim now finally deciding to back off here. We are going to get more Marines to destroy this low ground pylon once again. This low ground pylon force field now coming in. Is it going to be enough to actually deter anything? Sentry and Stalker on the low ground. A decent amount of range there. The Marines may try to push up underneath it once again. 27 versus 25 worker count. Army combinations much larger still for the Protoss player, but these Marines able to deal so much damage still, as I believe a bunker now being added over here, so perhaps just going to leave units in that location as the Marines getting even more damage, on the back of those Stalkers. We are getting Stim Pack and a lot more Marines still to be added. A Void Rays in the air, gaining sight, and it looks like TyLooJim is going to have enough. TyLooJim could easily start shutting down and dealing damage to these units here. Perhaps even going after the bunker over here. SCVs, all these units are going to have a little bit of a problem as well. The Void Rays, yeah, the Stalkers are now just going to be able to shut down this supply depot as the range of 6 just too much. And now perhaps going after some of those SCVs, Marauders, more units, and there's a force field trapping a lot of those Marines from being able to escape. Is it going to be enough to try to put more pressure on that front door? Those Void Rays could just completely destroy that front door location. Not quite sure why they are not. And the Zealots now lead the charge. In comes some more units. That bunker on the front door may fall. It looks like it is going to fall. And the Marines are now continuing to push in. There is a force field. SCVs getting stuck. The front door, it may cause some supply blockage in just a moment. That's 56 over 54. Another supply depot now taken down. And if Stim does get taken down, that is going to be the beginning of the end, as the SCVs all coming offline for an all-in, trying to counterattack this. Stalkers, Viking is now in the air. Is the Viking going to have enough range and enough damage to finish off those Void Rays is the key question. The Void Rays not engaging against the Viking. The Vikings, however, not focusing on the lower hit ground or lower hit point Void Rays. This Void Ray does get destroyed. Another Void Ray gets destroyed. TyLooJim, and now still with the dominant army trying to fight back as another Void Ray comes in from the high ground once more, absorbing more damage, but more Stalkers are still reinforcing. And the Viking needs to go into ground mode if it really wants to do anything else. Zealot now getting destroyed. Harvester count 9 compared to 24. More Stalkers coming in, as it looks like Jim will be able to follow up and continue to just push down, get on a lot more damage. The Viking finally gets into ground mode. Viking dealing a decent amount of damage, also helping with a couple more Marines, but I think that is going to be it, as those Stalkers are completely full on hit points. Down goes a Viking, only 3 Marines left. The Stalkers are backing off one at a time, trying to get some distance, and now I believe this Stalker may get taken down. No, not going to get taken down, as yeah, 5, 6 unaccounted or unargued Stalkers now in play. Down goes a Marine, and I believe the GG is there. Yes, it is. And YJ losing to Jim here on Dual Site after taking Game 1 with some very impressive play, losing Game 2 and Game 3. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.